Music. Why not?
My headset turned itself off.
Excellent. Good job. Okay, you did say it was going. Are we just sitting here silently while it's going?
Yes. Way to go.
I was just checking.
Yep.
Alright. We don't have any need for the music to mask me sending out links and everything else, but let's see here.
Wait, is that what you've been using it for? Because,
Mostly,
like,
yeah.
when I would do the intros, it was just because I'm like, guys, music.
No, I use it specifically to try and set a mood, and also to give the stream a little bit of time to catch up, so that we're not, like, sitting with, like, 6 seconds or a minute of just silence as we're like, is it working? Is it working? Is it working? Okay, it's working.
See, I guess I had the music down too low because it's just like silence. This sounds like silence to me this whole time.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, my bad.
Well, I just can't hear it because of my setup, so I'm just always like, oh, I'm just going to wait quietly here.
It was like this super calm friggin' Celtic shit. He was trying to put me to sleep.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would have liked it probably, like, a lot.
Well,
I'll-
convenient for you, we have a YouTube link.
Yeah.
I can also get you the link to the song. It's called Sandrine by Yuki Kiyajura, I think is what it's called. It's very appropriate, very nice. Anyway, so
Hang on, I have to reload the page.
that's cool.
But you can go on. Go ahead. Sorry.
So, would anyone like to recap what we did last week?
Nope.
Sacrifice
You weren't
the
here.
elf.
Shush. The most important event for your character last week, Annie, was that you saw a massive butterfly the size of a dinner plate. So, any recaps, or shall I do it?
We killed
Uh,
the D-moose.
Yep. We did kill the D-moose, and then we eated the D-moose, and then we found a dead dude's house, and we raided it, but without raiding it because the house would hit you back. And then...
Our house also got eaten.
Oh, yeah, our house... Yeah, but that was before the D-moose.
It was.
But anyway, so... We ransack dude's house, but not ransack it. We just take the thing we need, and then it's sending us on a fucking fetch quest. And then,
It's not a fetch quest, it's a scavenger
it's a
hunt.
fucking fetch quest.
It's a scavenger hunt.
Careful, Matt. Careful, Matt. Don't call it a fetch quest. Escort mission.
Yeah.
Whatever. I eat them,
Son
and I
of a
regurgitate
bitch.
them when I get to where we're going.
Don't call it a fetch quest, or we'll get what he actually calls a fetch quest next time.
Whatever.
How would you like to kill?
Point. Okay. Point fucking B. We have to go get these goddamn things, and so we can go put them in a hole, so we can go get the MacGuffin.
Uh-huh.
And we got one from a freaking archaeology dig, and we saved them months and months of work.
So we're grabbing some
Dang.
MacGuffins to go get another MacGuffin.
Yep.
Ooh.
It's MacGuffins all the way down.
Everyone ready for the MacGuffin?
I do have to comment that I have to remember at all terms at this point, with this party and group of adventurers.
We are not adventurers, sir. We are fucking planeswalkers. Thank you.
No, I mean in general, you guys as players, as a group, I need to remember that I can make the most elaborate dungeon crawl ever, always, and forever. And you guys will just simply say, can we dig our way underneath it? Twice now you've done this to me.
Hold on. I would like to point out, Josh, you are not excluded from this either. Digger! How did that fucking bunker raid go? Episode fucking 2!
To be fair, it's not just can we dig under it. It's also, can I build a machine that can detect the radiation?
Don't even get on that.
Go fuck off.
Don't even get on that. There'll be rage.
Yeah, Cassie.
What if I
Because
just tweak
now you
the
just get
wormhole
to-
generator and we'll send everybody to the battlefield?
You know, I don't break games. Even though I
Hey, you remember when you remember that time when the Dark Father was supposed to get away?
Okay, that was a little one compared to everything else everyone has just mentioned.
Kamehame fuck off.
Oh my.
That was a little one compared to everything else everyone has done.
That I will give you this. To be fair, yours didn't deny somebody the ability to roleplay their superhero character.
Nope,
Yep.
it didn't.
No, it didn't.
Only Cassie handled this level of douchery.
But I roleplayed my superhero character.
Alright. So, let's get to setting a scene for this game. Now that we're done reminiscing about the past and... Oh, gods, I love you guys. Anyway.
Let's stop talking about the past and instead
Move on.
let's talk about the past.
Yeah, because we're in dinosaur land. So.
Oh,
The part.
there was another thing that we discovered about the plane.
Yes.
If you see a giant slime creature, do not pet it. In fact,
Run away.
run the fuck away because it's like massive and eats T-Rexes.
Also, there was a thing about the blood.
Oh yeah, we have to go like find some freaking orgy of blood wizards or whatever.
Blood
A
witches.
matriarchal a matriarchal tribe of blood witches.
Indeed.
They require blood sacrifice to use their magic.
So,
And yes, that joke was already made.
let's see here. Oh yes, I remember how I was going to begin with this. We said it last week. So,
I'll be right back.
a shame considering I needed him. All right, well, we'll begin with the character. We'll begin with the character that had the most least screen time.
Whoops.
Ilona.
Blink,
At the-
blink.
At the conclusion of scene starts with basically you sleeping on a I don't know how would Ilona sleep? Like, would you conjure something or
Standing up.
No. She would either conjure something or I guess I have to clarify this. She'll just get general levitation Because
Yeah.
that was kind of a thing last time, was she just kind of floated sometimes a lot.
Okay. Yeah. So she's probably floating.
Unconscious and just kind of like snooze. Blanky.
Okay, I can see this. Okay. So the scene begins with you're in the living areas of the tomb, where in the corner, freshly erected, is a tomb of glass over the Planeswalker Vane, who around his bed. You've recovered basically like what is a throw blanket or comforter from one of the chests in the room, and just kind of floating there, half covered in the blanket.
Mm-hmm.
When all of a sudden outside, there is a loud sound of fracturing stone and upheaval of earth, as you hear in the great roaring voice of Mulgarian him say,
"Oh, that is the last time I sleep with my head in that position. This crick in my neck is gonna be the death of me."
A little bit of flailing, like she ends up wrapping herself burritoed into the blanket somehow in midair. And then she like starts blinking and then kind of goes, oh, what was that?
Our focus moves over to the mantle place of the hearth with its magical blue fire burning within. Fizzle laying there. Fizzle's reaction.
Go away, I'm sleeping.
Somewhere we travel outside to the entryway where there's the numerous statues of various hedonistic gods and the big pot-bellied Bacchus-like lord of wine that is the front door to this place, where Tedrix sits with his Pteranodon mount, freshly acquired Pteranodon mount, sleeping with it. He also hears the mighty cry of the dragon.
Dirty.
Shut up.
Does this make him a Skybax?
I guess, yeah, Dinotopia. Was that shut up in character, Jimmy, or
No, that was out of character. That was me telling
Okay.
Emily to shut up.
what is Tedrix's reaction?
He's
Sen-
the dragon's just complaining about a crick in his neck.
Yeah.
Well, he's climbing out of the ground with like magma, like kind of like water falls off a duck's back. He's doing that, but with magma as he climbs out of the crater that he had created last night to sleep in.
And over the course of the night, with no magic to sustain it kind of hardened on top and formed a shell, which is what all the fracturing of stone was. Like you can see some chunks of lava rock hit the water as he breaks out of it.
And of course, you are right now the only character that is actually seeing this. Everybody else just, hears its side effects.
Amatrine was in the water near you.
Well, aside from making sure that nothing is going to hit my mount, I'm just gonna admire it because dragons are amazing.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
I know.
You do realize that if you play your cards right, you can sleep with this one.
I know.
Oh my. All right. So with that,
Half dragons come from somewhere. I'm just.
I'm not
It
going to.
doesn't matter if Hedrix has the right parts or not.
Guys, I'm sorry.
He'll make it work.
I'm getting really terrible. I'm gonna bounce out for a minute and be back.
Okay. And so that also then takes us down into the water, where Ametrine was resting. You hear
Well-
the sploosh, sploosh, sploosh as rocks fall.
It's a lot more muted, so I probably can understand his words, but it's a lot quieter for me.
Yeah, true enough.
And so I just kind of wake up. It's kind of like a almost not quite gentle alarm clock, but you know, it's not terribly loud like it was for the rest.
True enough.
So she just kind of does a magical girl spin out of the water into the air to dry off.
And finally, to Bulgarian, who is the party's alarm clock this morning.
Well, when he sees Ametrine come up out of the water, where not too far away from where some of the rocks had been falling off of like his wings or some shit. Because even though they weren't like exploding outwards or anything, cranial trauma is cranial trauma, and so he's just kind of gonna look over at her and.
I didn't know that you were there. I apologize. You alright?
I love that you continued talking so it wouldn't sound like I just was ignoring you while I was chewing. She glances over and her wings spread and shimmer. It's like, I'm fine. You didn't hit me.
Well, that's good.
Also, the impact of, rocks falling into the water would have slowed them down a bit.
Yeah, but when the rock is the same size as you are, its speed is relative. But regardless. I'm not looking forward to today.
No?
Crazed blood witches does not exactly sound fun, but I suppose we should go see if anybody else is awake yet.
The answer's probably. And
I suppose.
As he he actually moves like a cat as he just digs his front feet into the ground and stretches.
does he need?
No.
Aw.
Alright, so, the scene moves along as the party itself reconvenes. I guess the choice is, which zone would you like to do in the little, fetching puzzle area? Or the living area?
I would assume the living area where the food was, because then everybody could sit down around breakfast and whatnot. Because we already have what the clue is, we just have to go figure out where they are. Which, so, doing that in character, so Bulgarian turns back into his friggin' tall elf person form or whatever when he comes inside. And as everybody's eating, he's got a book open next to whatever plate of stuff he's got. He says, so we already have the clue. We already know what the clue is trying to point us towards. We just have to find it.
Oh, what? How? What? What? What?
Good morning, Fizzle.
What? More? What?
It's 2 hours before sunrise.
Why?
For those of you in the audience, it's not actually, but he's telling her this because it's funny.
What is wrong with you people?
Some people
feel-
just are morning people. I
And
don't
I
get
feel
them
like it's
either.
fairly. I feel like it's fairly presumptuous for you to lump all of us into you people. Are you trying to say that to us we all look to you we all look the same?
Are you
Yes,
trying to say
that
that
is exactly what
Nocturnal
I'm saying.
Are you trying to say there's something wrong with nocturnal people? Or diurnal people?
What?
I think she just assumed your wakefulness preferences.
That's what I think.
That's why I brought you a steak.
Oh, okay. Cool. I'm awake. So what are we doing? What's going on?
Well, we need to go find that red mana stone.
Right.
Cedric
Yes.
said yeah. So, since we already know what our clue is, we just simply have to figure out where these tribes would actually be located at.
Was there anything like that would help guide us in that direction?
Yeah, I thought that when I looked, the information was the information there, or was I looking for clues?
You actually gained a bit of information last session, Jimmy. You did indeed. You know where the tribe itself normally, where they make their stomping grounds.
Okay, then I do know where we need to go. Well,
Oh,
I know
excellent.
where they're normally at.
Yeah.
I can't say that they're going to be there. I mean, these journals are rather old.
About 20 years, yes.
Well, to be fair, Tedrix, a starting point is still better than running blind.
True.
Yep.
So, what?
So we're
Remember
going
how
on a
we
trip.
had?
Never mind,
Great.
I'm not gonna say it.
Who's got the coffee?
Coffee?
What is coffee?
What is wrong with you people?
Not every plane has the same everything.
Then clearly your planes are terrible. Terrible places.
Why did you leave the plane that had the coffee if that's something that apparently you value very, very highly?
I'd like to point out that Malgarian is just looking incredibly smug at this interaction.
Wait, what? Why did I what?
Why did you leave your plane if coffee is apparently a requirement for you and you need to have it and not all planes have them?
'Cause I didn't know I was leaving when I left. And
So
I
do we
didn't
need to
know
take
where I
you
was
home?
going when I got there.
Like, wait, are you going to die without the coffee? She is very concerned now and looking like this is like the most important thing in the world right now. Like, is your life in peril without coffee?
I'd like to know that too. Be good reference material.
Like, Fizzle, like, how long can you go without coffee? Are you going to be okay? Do we need to figure out your home plane, like, right now? Because we can do that.
And now she's just sitting there looking very conflicted, like, I don't know if I should just go with this, or if I should be serious.
She is giving you the most earnest, heartfelt look she possibly could.
At this point...
No, I don't need it. Don't worry, stop being sad.
I was gonna say something. Yeah, Anatrine would have been like, well, even though she didn't know that she was going to leave, she can go back to her home plane now that she has traveled.
Malgarian's off in the distance doing the Picard double face palm. just trying to hide his giggling.
Well, as long as you're gonna be all right, Fizzle.
I'm almost half tempted.
It might be. I mean, I don't know. Well, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Well, tell
Something
us.
bad could happen to me at any time.
You have to tell us then if you start feeling bad, okay? Promise.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay.
Have time to go.
Sucker.
Who wants some Java bean tea?
So this is making Matt face
Son of a
in real
bitch! You
life.
said there was no coffee!
It's
Fizzle
like
explodes
babies.
across the room.
it's like babysitting a clutch of hatchlings.
I don't say that, by the way. I'm just half tempted to.
Well, fine then.
Okay, well, Fizzle's not gonna die, so let's go do this thing.
Ilona, how fast can you fly?
I don't know. I just kind of usually wander around and nobody tells me. Like, anything, so I don't worry about it.
All right.
Worst
Well-
case scenario, I can carry the elf on my mount. Or the half elf, whatever.
We'll go with that. It's a more complicated answer, but we'll go with that.
Why doesn't anyone care how fast I can fly?
Well, you kept up just fine yesterday.
Fair enough.
I'm trying to determine how much of a dick Tedrix wants to be towards Ilona and Fizzle.
Oh yeah?
Don't be a dick. We're all friends.
Also, the answer to the question of how fast I can fly is how much fuel I have to just jam in this thing.
Like,
Ilona, I believe that she just insinuated that she is resource dependent on her wings being able to function. I think you should probably assist her with that. And on that note, I need to go down the hall to go find another book. I'll be back.
okay, legit technical question. How do I determine my speed?
There is no
The,
speed.
the plot demands it.
How fast the plot demands it. It is entirely narrative based. How fast you think she can fly?
Oh, well, she's functionally a being of light, so the speed of light.
Oh my god.
Maybe half.
It's like I opened the book to you. I immediately picked the strongest possible option. Screw game balance.
She travels at 0.4 C. Just, we'll just go with that. That sounds fair.
Anyway,
We could go with half that, because, she's only half
She
celestial
reminds me of
being.
Lumen.
specifically, Annie, to state it in this game, in this game, your character moves about as fast as narratively they need to achieve what goal they're attempting to achieve. Whatever is within reasonable thought on that regard. So, think of it in terms of, an action movie or comic panels. There's no actual, speed to things. It's the action hero will jump over the table as fast as the story says that he needs to achieve that to set the scene moving forward.
I still feel like she is a light-based creature of some kind. So
that is true.
I'm going to say she's really damn fast then, because plot device.
Plot device. Hold on. And I suppose we could probably tap into that. That might be like a check you can do, or something like that, to actually just zip around at speed of light. Which I guess would just be teleporting essentially in this game.
Oh, okay.
But as far as the actual question that Mulgarian was asking in the context of it, you're fairly confident that you can float along at fast as a dragon's wing?
Yeah.
Or if not, well, you have two people with large mounts.
She's gonna be like, I think I can do it. There's been some pretty fast things that I kind of kept up with back home. I mean, you know, it happens.
And I think at that point, Matt, when Malgarian's actually left the room to go seek a
Yeah,
book.
his mom is here.
Oh, okay, yeah. They didn't need to say anything. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you were wanting to know, you know, what book he was seeking or whatever, he used that as an excuse to go AFK.
For just a moment. All right, so let's keep the scene moving on. Jimmy,
Yes.
have you determined the answer to your personal question?
I know Tedrix doesn't really care Fizzle.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna be not knowing the background
Uh-huh.
of Alona. Yeah, I don't think he's really too much of a fan either. Just based on he's a racist.
He likes dragons, and that's about it.
Oh my.
It's only because he's never seen one before.
No, I was more inquiring if you had an action you wanted him to take.
Oh no,
No?
it's basically just like an attitude. It's
Yeah.
why, yeah.
I see.
It's
All
why
right,
he
then.
doesn't care how fast Fizzle flies.
So, I guess then to keep the scene moving, so they all kind of consume their various foods. Fizzle is put out by the lack of coffee. The poor thing.
It's probably some evil fairy concoction anyway.
And I believe that Tedrix actually has some information that might be of use to finding these people. So
Yes.
let's move on to a scene of that. Like you have the map of Muragonda that Vane drew out, and after breakfast is done, and the plates and dishes are put away, you find that like Tedrix pulls out the map and spreads it out.
And I see where the mountain range is
Yes.
and where we're at.
Mm-hmm. Like, you note that the tomb is not marked on the map. Like, Vane didn't mark his own resting place.
Well, right.
Yeah. But maybe you, like, I don't know, you mark it in some way. Like, how would he mark it? Just...
Probably just with like a pen or something.
Okay.
Just because, yeah, I mean, he's not exactly, aside from the beast mastery, he's not really a knowledgeable person.
Yeah.
As far as, you know, like, I'm gonna make this map magic and pinpoint exactly where we're at.
True. So he just kind of marks it with a pen, like, we are here. Draws a little,
Yes.
like a little set of squares that look like the tomb on the river, or on the mountain river valley. Would he be good at navigation?
I would imagine so, if he was able to fly the pteranodon to where the others were and
True.
back.
That is a good point. So maybe, I don't know. Narrate for me, Jimmy. Narrate. What's he do?
If everyone is around the table with the map, I will point to the mountain range and say that the last known position of the tribe was here. But again, it's been 20 years, so there's no telling if they are even in the same location. Of course, it doesn't mention if they're nomadic or not, so who knows.
Oh, even if they aren't nomadic, there's every possibility that over the course of 20 years that something could have happened that made it so they had to move. But even still,
Yes, they could have been eaten by what was the name of that dinosaur?
you mean the slime creature?
No, the big feathery dinosaur. No, not the sun neck. It was something like "fuck you" or it was derogatory.
Thieving little bastard?
Oh, was it thieving little bastard?
I mean, to be fair, they had teeth. They could still eat people.
Yeah, maybe they are carnivorous, or they could have been taken out by an entire herd of demus. Who knows?
Could be a lot of things.
Or they could
Hell,
have
for
been
all
picked
we
off
know,
by
they
my
could have.
mount.
Or, yes, or maybe a blood magic ritual got out of hand and they wiped themselves out, and there's just a demon sitting there bound to a circle.
Why
won't
would you
know
give
until we get
Josh
there, unfortunately.
ideas? Why would you give Josh
Because
ideas?
it's bound.
Malgarion,
Because it's bound to a fucking circle.
Come, make a deal with me, and I will give you the stone
Fuck off.
that you seek.
Okay, deal. Oh, I'm sorry.
Alright, I got a deal for you. Give me the stone, or I'm gonna put this glitter. So
Anyway. Tedrix, you can basically estimate, using a little, like, navigational trick, that,
It's
if this
about a
map-
days away.
yes. You guys have
Sweet.
a long flight. And that's a day by flight. Like, I will specify that. That's a day by flight.
whose flight?
So we fly there, and then we party with the awesome hardcore blood ladies.
I need to take just a brief moment to stand up. I will be right back. Give me 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Narrate among
Oh, worst
yourselves.
case scenario is
So
if any of you end up
go ahead.
if any of you end up tired, it's not like any of you weigh enough to actually inhibit me in any way.
I think I'll be good. I mean, I usually fly everywhere because walking just takes effort.
I can go faster by jamming more fuel into the device.
Dirty.
It is dirty. There's a lot of grease and smoke involved. Yes. Oh, you meant sexually. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no,
I am.
I saw the plumes coming out of your flying contraption when we were on our way south. That
It is an unfortunate side effect of having to, replace body parts.
Yep.
Malgarion, if you could carry me, I can release the Pteranodon. I don't think we would have to make several stops.
Fair enough.
So when we get there, do we just want to, like, all walk in? Or, because, like, I'm pretty sure I can become invisible. I might have to think about it.
Well, I suppose that the biggest question would be, what, as far as they're requiring blood to work their magic and such, did it have to be willingly given? Or are they the sort who are going to war with another tribe to gather up prisoners to make blood sacrifices force blood sacrifices on them?
Alona goes blink, blink.
Slowly turn to look at Tedrix.
From what I can remember, I don't think. Hang on, let me look at the notes right quick. Oh, okay, that's unfortunate.
What is it?
Ooh, ooh.
There aren't any notes.
Oh my.
Josh, the blood, they were were they willing and unwilling, or were they just willing?
The what?
Or were the blood sacrifices of the witches, was it willing, unwilling, or a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B?
There was no notes on exactly what that was.
Okay, then I don't know if it's willing or unwilling. But
That. Go ahead.
any blood mage that I've ever come across has always been unwilling.
Then it's probably better to err on the side of caution, and I suppose when we get closer, we can start trying to be a little stealthier about it, and then take stock of the situation once we get there.
By the way, quick question now that Josh is back.
Yes.
Or I guess anyway. I could probably use my spell shaping to become invisible due to the nature of my heritage, right?
Due to the nature of your heritage and that you use light manipulation magic, yes, you could, in fact, use your abilities to become invisible.
Like Lumen.
Cool. She experiments with this now, just to double check with herself, because she hasn't actually tried before. But then she's like, "This should work."
Okay.
So, Amatrine looks at Malgarian. We may have a hard time getting in quietly with your dragon form. Do you have to be
I can turn into more than just an elf, yes.
Well, I was just curious if you could turn into an, other animal type, or if it has to be sentient.
I can turn into whatever I wish.
Okay.
Wait a second. Hey, Josh.
Yes.
Flying the whole day, if I let the Pteranodon go, could I create a clone of it? And would it last the entire day?
I'd say you might need a little more study on the creature before you could make a clone of it.
Well,
Okay.
dissection it is.
Just a little more time around it. You've only spent 24 hours around this creature.
I'll let you borrow my scalpels.
Yes, because that's exactly what I want. I want to be able to attack the Pteranodon with a pair of metal fucking toothpicks.
Uh-huh. Go for the eyes.
Go for the eyes, boo. Go for the eyes.
All right. Also, Annie,
Yes.
since this is the first time that you've tried this, roll me a spell shaping check.
So I'm
roll
assuming I get to go
against-
in.
Hold on.
Oh.
Against difficulty 3, you need a good result.
So do I go to the skills tab in
Mhm.
my character sheet? Okay.
Yep, and you'll see the little D20s underneath your skills.
Do I put any modifier in? Because it asked me for a modifier when I tapped on it.
Since you're using blue magic,
Yeah,
it'd
blue
be
right now is at
-1.
a... No, that I preset for the area you're going to be in. Blue's was at a +1 for this area because you're in a river valley.
Right.
So yeah, +1. Or don't
So
put the plus, just put 1.
Okay, so I just type in 1 to where it says input value modifier.
Yep.
And then I click the submit button.
Yep.
Oh, now it wants me to like... Oh, there it is. Okay.
Okay, yeah, you succeed. So yeah, as the discussion of the Pteranodon has... Or, wait, no, that was all out of character, wasn't it?
That was out of character, yeah.
Okay, you're right. As the conversation is starting to kind of wind down, you notice
There we go.
Alona,
Thanks.
just like from the... Or, hang on. Sheer success. Annie, you narrate what happens.
So she thought about it, and then she stops kind of paying attention to everybody else. And then she starts kind of thinking and looking around like, And then she kind of does a little wave with her hands, and slowly she fades out of sight. And then she looks around like, did it work? And she's waiting to see if anyone has a reaction.
I got it. Okay, so this is when Malgarian comes walking back into the room. Where did Ilona go?
I'm here!
Oh.
I'm right here!
He kind of cocks an eyebrow.
She floats over and pokes him on the top of the head. I'm right here. Did it work? You can't see me, right?
We can still hear you.
I mean, I figured that. And then, ooh, let's see. Can I do just my hand? And like she tries to make just her hand visible again. Do I have to roll again?
In response to Tedrix's comment and her question, Malgarian just gonna kind of like slowly close his eyes, and that when he opens, he say, "Tedrix, what are you saying that you can hear?"
You get more poking on the top of your head.
He's pretending he can't feel it.
She now sits on top of your head.
Amatrine,
Dirty.
I thought he was in elf form right now.
Yeah.
She can float. I'm pretty sure she can control how much she's floating on.
I think after Malgarian says that, I think Tedrix is smiling.
Yeah, Amatrine would understand pretty quickly. She's like, yeah, I don't hear anything either. What are you talking about?
Suddenly you see a flashing rainbow around as she's like given up on invisibility and is basically racing around the room at her high speed with the light show going on, going, I'm here!
Good job, guys. Now you broke her.
Haha, you all think you're so funny.
I thought it was hilarious.
She sticks
Me
her tongue
too.
at all of you.
Anyway.
She's pouting by sitting cross-legged, but hovering so that her head Is it the same height as if she was standing?
Wait a minute. Why am I getting blamed for this? The one time I didn't do it. The one time. I mean, I never do it. What are you talking about? Shut up.
No, of course not. You never threatened to burn down a tavern.
Who
course
does
not.
something like that?
Not me, obviously.
She's looking very shocked, like, what? That's not right, guys. That tavern's somebody's business. Don't do that.
What if they were a
Well,
bad
you know
person?
what? He shouldn't have been threatening me with a knife.
I think
What?
you could burn down bad
I mean,
people's tavern.
nothing. Shut up.
What kind of tavern do you frequent where you get threatened with a knife?
Well, it depends. Did she pay?
Well, to be fair, I was actually in the alley behind the tavern when the guy from the tavern threatened me with a knife. Because, I don't know, some reason that I can't possibly fathom. He was like, get away from my tavern, or I'm gonna cut you. And I was like, well, then I'm just gonna burn everything down. Or not, allegedly.
She's frowny facing at you.
Perfectly reasonable response. I mean, really.
Lots of frowny facing.
I mean, if there's nobody inside and they're threatening you with a knife,
Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Sure.
So let's find the thing that we're supposed to find and not talk about burning down taverns.
Sure, I mean, you know, obviously, I mean, some of my best friends are taverns. Like, I wouldn't.
Fizzle, I think you're backpedaling perhaps a little bit too hard.
Nah. It's only too hard when it stops being fun.
Anyway,
I mean, what are you talking about? Shut up.
I'm going to go outside and go stretch and get ready for this flight.
Ooh, you stretch? And she follows you, like, totally just like, what's this thing?
it's like when somebody tells someone that they do yoga. Like, can I watch?
That sounded so bad.
All right. So,
I'm following Malgarian.
Yeah, Scene Advances is basically like I think everyone's kind of realized, like, oh yeah, we're going on a trip now. Going to assume maybe someone packed something for the trip. I mean, they are going to be gone for a day's flight.
I'm packing food.
Yeah.
I have claws.
I have glitter.
Nom nom. You can't eat glitter.
I
Says
beg to
you.
differ.
I mean, you know, I'm the only human here. I don't know if anybody else needs to eat.
Well, you just watch them all eat. So.
Well, but I don't know if they have to eat. And I don't care if the elf and the fairy have to eat.
I don't know.
Technically, I'm an elf right now.
What's that?
I'll be back. Sorry.
What was that, Matt?
I said technically I am an elf right now.
Alona's
Yeah,
not
but-
an elf.
Half elf, whatever.
She's not a half elf either.
She's half fae.
Oh, originally I was half elf, half fae.
Yeah.
Back in the other game. But if we're gonna go human, it's all good. I don't care that much.
Well, does she look? Does she have any elven features? Or any fae
She has
features?
fae features.
I'm glowy. Like my coloring shifts constantly because I manipulate light from within myself and around me.
But you look human otherwise.
She looks like a rainbow given human form.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think if that's how we're going to be describing her, we need to have a different piece of art for her on the Roll20, because I've been going under this assumption the whole time that like she has the ability to change colors and she has the ability to project light and all that, not that she is actually a floating light elemental.
No, we will try to aim for that.
We will try and aim for that, I guess. I remember that finding her picture was hard.
Yes, it was.
Hang on.
I'm just saying, because if you wanted to go with the other, where it's pretty much she's what amounts to a light elemental, I can go keep working on finding art for that. I just mental image of the scene and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Right.
Just imagine Lumen, but with.
Hang on. I got something for this.
Yeah, try to stay in game. If you find something, just put it in the thing quietly. We'll do it afterwards. Okay. So after some brief packing, everyone kind of heads outside. Correct?
Yes.
That is the scene. So Matt,
go ahead.
To set this scene, I have a brief question for you. Where did you put your lava hole? Last night, was it on the beach or actually underneath the eave of the entrance to the tomb?
Oh no, it would have been a little bit further down river from the tomb. Honestly, probably the only rocks that actually even went into the water from when we were talking about that were probably ones that he shook off of his wings and they got flung a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have wanted to do it right on the edge of the water, because that's a good way for water to seep into your little sleepy spot and drown you in your sleep. So, because the picture of the place had kind of a it's foothills. We're not in the jungle proper. So he would have gone and found a relatively bare spot and just upturned the earth and done his thing.
Yeah. Okay. There, as you kind of head out of the entrance, you notice that there's a few natives actually looking at the now cooled lava hole.
Wait, people?
Yeah, people. Specifically, you notice this individual. He's a bronze-skinned, kind of lizard-like individual.
What individual?
It's on
Look at the
Roll20.
map. Go down below my picture.
Scroll down. Okay.
Scroll down a little bit, yeah. Yeah, he's kind of a bronze-skinned reptilian humanoid individual, wearing a headdress made out of a skull, several clothes of primitive make, basically stitched together hides and things like that. He's got an assortment of weaponry with him, mostly primitive spears, a sword made out of studding stones into the edge of a club, kind of like a Mayan style. And he's on the back of what looks to be like a domesticated raptor. And there's a couple other individuals like him, both lizard-like him and human, and just plain straight human. And they're kind of looking at the hole that you've made and the cooled magma rock inside. Some of the men have dismounted and are actually heaping pieces of these stones into a bag.
Okay, so after seeing this, I think since it sounded like Malgarian was probably going to be the first one at the door, he's going to kind of like motion everybody to be relatively quiet, like over, with the like a still wave of a hand or something.
I return.
Welcome back. And then he's just going to kind of look at this, be like, so it looks like there are actually other. I don't have headphones on, so. Perhaps we should go and introduce ourselves before they get too invested, I suppose.
Okay.
Should we be prepared for combat?
If it ends up coming down to a combat, I think that they're really not going to enjoy that particular endeavor.
I mean, we should always be ready to defend ourselves, but that really shouldn't be our first plan of action. I mean, they're just people.
That's usually why we have to prepare for combat in our first plan of action.
Hey, Josh.
Yes.
I'm just gonna have my leash, the handle, in my hands just in case.
Okay, that's fine.
I think Malgarian's probably just gonna. Okay, so is my if I'm understanding this right, so pretty much what my plan is Malgarian's going to change back into his dragon form, just less of a fly or hop or anything, but just glide over and then land so that they are between him and the river, so that they pretty much their options are either run past the dragon or run into the river, and then he's just going to kind of stand there for a moment and look at them, see how they react.
Considering you look like something that normally they have to engage with in a violent manner, the first thing is that the bronze-skinned, golden-eyed one who has the fanciest headdress seen there, reaches into like his saddlebag of his raptor and pulls out what looks like almost like a primitive lance.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a long, thick spear. And at first, you don't really understand what he says. He's like, "Jatu, akadito." But then your spark triggers.
He sounds like a Diablo 2 Fallen. Akadito.
But yeah, then your spark kind of triggers, and you understand what he's saying. And he's basically directing them, crying, "Fan out, fan out."
Which, as he says that, he's gonna pretty much just fold in his wings along his side, and he's just gonna sit. He's just gonna sit, and just look at them.
You watch as in a coordinated mission, they kind of start to fan, like semicircle fan, and they all kind of pull out their primitive stone axes and spears, like they can actually like fight you. But it's kind of obvious to you that they know they can't, not from where they are, because they're not making any action to actually like attack you. They're just like in a defensive posture.
Hey, Josh.
Yes.
In my attempt to impress the dragon, I am going to activate the leash and get in between Malgarian, sorry, and the lizard people.
Okay.
So, who are these jerks?
So if Fizzle says that, Malgarian just gonna look at Pat and say, "I'm not certain, but they seem to." Oh wait, sorry, hold on.
I'm not certain, but they seem to believe that anything large and scaly must be a predator of some kind, even if they hadn't seen one like it before.
What did they think what did they look like when they saw me, or is just all the attention on the dragon?
Well, so far, everyone's kind of back at the cave. Malgarian is the only, and I guess Fizzle, probably on Malgarian, I'm going to assume,
Yeah.
have landed in
Obviously.
front of them.
I was going to exit the cave then.
Okay. You do notice that they start to notice, like, there's more chatter back and forth as they kind of bark back and forth. Like, one guy's
There's
like,
a second scaly thing.
yeah, one more. And they give a direction. They're like, I guess they would be, hang on. Let me orient the scene in my head.
Because did they not hear then what Malgarian and Fizzle said?
Well, no. This is all kind of happening at the same time. So
Oh, okay.
Let's get a proper timeline. You guys land. They begin to fan out in that little defensive posture. As that fan kind of things, you hear the one in the headdress kind of bark like, ones with stones to mounts. At that point, Fizzle pipes in, and Mulgarian begins to talk. Ametrine walks out of the cave. One of the other guys begins to bark, like, one more to north. You see a couple of the guys kind of start reorienting themselves so that they can potentially ward off a pincer. And at that point, I think we need to get into what Jimmy just barely said he does, right? So, how do you use the leash?
Well, it's a handle, and then the leash is actually like an energy thing.
Yeah.
So you Indiana Jones swing yourself in there?
It's either that or well, how far away is Algarian to where?
A bit. Like, he in his dragon form, he had glided over because they were over by where he had been sleeping. So he was a bit away so that he didn't cause any damage to the tomb/fortress thing.
Oh, well, then let me change what I wanted to do, Josh, because I didn't realize how far away they were.
That's fine.
I'm going to mount the Pteranodon. And get it to go over to where Malgarian is.
Alright. So yeah, you land over by Malgarian, between him and them. But at this point, the lizard man actually points out to Malgarian and Fizzle and goes, "They speak the tribe's tongue." Hold.
Alona's going to come out.
Dirty.
Guys, you're scaring them. Malgarian.
They need to be scared.
So,
What are you talking about?
These aren't our badass blood witches, are they? Because that's disappointing.
They did say blood witches were matriarchal, so probably not.
Okay, well, obviously they got, they probably got, the grunts to do things, like run around in the woods being stupid.
Fizzle, enough.
Either way,
Oh, crap, I wasn't doing the voice, sorry.
Fizzle, that's enough.
I'm trying to explain myself here.
Yes, and you're being rude.
I am also being rude, yes.
Now, as for you,
And at that point, he's going to turn towards the little tribal people over there and whatnot.
what is it that brought you over here this morning?
and you notice, like, the guy up on the rafter turned to, like, I guess kind of something similar to a second in command, a human. And he simply says, "They use strange words." But the large one then turns back to you and simply says, "We woke from camp this morning to loud sound of stone."
You weren't the only one. She glares over at Malgarian.
We came looking for source. Find pit. I am fifth elect. These are my raiders. We take stone.
Well, if it's stone that you're after, we need some information about some tribe to the...
It was to the north, right?
That was to the west.
West? Okay.
We can give you plenty of stone if you have information about another tribe to the west.
And just to make sure that they know what the fuck west means, he's going to then lift up one of his he's gonna point with one of his hands.
The fifth elect nods fervently. Yes. West. How far west? There are many tribe. Broken axes, Chandra skulls. Many tribe. Have name?
Kedrix.
Blood witches?
Yeah, I don't remember if they had a name. It was just a blood witch tribe that were matriarchal, led by women.
It is a character?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yes. Blood witches. They far tribe. Sorry, hang on. I kind of lost the voice because my throat got dry. Yes. Blood witches. Far tribe in mountain. Strong women, weak men. Right?
Correct. What can you tell us about them?
Led by priestess Ari Kari. Blood witches once a moon do big ceremony. Many tribe come, ask for... He's trying to find, like, the words in his language to articulate this. They do... What was that sound?
Once a month they have this big fucking ceremony.
Once a moon.
Anyway. He at this point, you realize that he's kind of, like... Dude's smart, but his language is very primitive, so it doesn't have a very good vocabulary. So, what he's telling you is in short, clipped words at this point. Yes, big ceremony. Many tribe join. If bring sacrifice, have wish granted by witches of tribe, by priestesses. But must be good sacrifice for the wish.
Do they have raiders?
Do they have what?
Readers.
People who can read?
Raiders, like these guys are.
Blood witches have warriors, very few. Mostly strongest men. Normally led by small amount of women who are even stronger. Mostly use the magic. Oh, no, he wouldn't call it magic. Shamanism.
These tribes that go to get their wishes granted, you said they need a sacrifice. What makes a good sacrifice?
Depends on wish. Best sacrifice, and he kind of like thumps his chest. People. One of yours.
Their life or just their blood?
Again, depend on wish. But much blood is required. But small wishes granted for game. Live game. Sometimes prisoner or slave used. My tribe never go. Do not.
Why
do
not?
Do not like feel in the air. Is not right. Fifilet also do little shaman work. Not like feel in air.
We are elder shamans from our own tribes. And we are here trying to find something that the witches have.
He like gives you like a lizard-like head quirk.
Can you tell us where they live?
Yes. Due west. Live on Third Peak. Always have big fire. Belches greasy black smoke. I don't know if you'd know the word greasy, but that's the best way to describe it, so.
So how much of this to Malgarian seems to just read off as volcano?
No, he means that, like, literally they make, like, a massive bonfire.
Okay.
So that you could, like, every night. Especially tonight. Tonight, night of ceremony. Will be many big bonfire.
Out of character, that's fantastic, but it's going to take a day to get there.
Yeah, about a 12-hour flight.
Too bad none of us decided to make, portal specialists or some shit.
Oh my, that would have been cool. But yeah, no one decided to make one of those, did they?
How hard would it
Glitter
be to
portal.
make a portal?
Hey Josh, did I forget to mention a little side project that the Royal Guard did?
Shush. But no,
Time is an element, right?
I do feel like I need to specify this. I mean, like, when I say a day's flight, I don't mean like a 24-hour flight. I mean like a 12-hour. Like, it'll take the day. You'll arrive at these mountains by nightfall. Because there seems to be a little confusion on that side.
Okay.
At this
that's
point,
what
like,
I assumed.
the tribe is the raiders have kind of relaxed, mounted, like, poured the stones that they've gathered into their saddlebags of their various mounts, which they seem to be very good at domesticating these creatures. Like, there's raptors and a couple other more squat four-legged dinosaurs, which you don't know the names of. One of them has a Compositus. And they've started to kind of...
For those at home, Josh, who don't know what one of those are.
Oh, it's a primitive like high-bodied crocodile. Very long, very tall.
Like, it's got longer legs than the normal crocodile would. They're theorized to be super good at jumping.
Yeah. So, and he hops on back of that. Fifth Alette, the leader, kind of scratches at his chin. What you want from blood witches?
A friend of our tribe gave them something long ago, and we need it back to try and save our tribe.
I was gonna say, I was just gonna create a little mirage of it.
You
Something
can
like
do both.
this.
Fifth nods to it. I know of this. Arikari wears on, and he, like, taps at his chest. Above hot.
Of course he does.
When you
Awesome.
deal with blood witches, come find my tribe. We talk more of stone. Now, we must hunt. Thank you for stone. Make good weapons.
Malgarian's gonna nod and he's gonna raise a hand because he's gonna cast a spell towards them.
Mhm.
White or red for strengthening the stones?
Red. Well,
Okay.
both. It depends. What's your intention? Are you attempting to, like, make the stones more stronger by making them more orderly? Or are you trying to make the stones more stronger just through pure geomancy? Because either way works.
I guess the question would be, while we're here at the thing, because blue magic is strong here, doesn't that mean that my red would be at a penalty?
It's both mountains and river, so your action would be at a +1 for red.
Okay, so then, yeah, he's just going to run it as red then. Because the idea was going to be make it so that they're not going to have a harder time trying to make things out of it, but to make them better, stronger for doing the thing.
Yeah. I'd actually say that'd be more of a white thing. You want them more orderly so that they will work easy and yet be strong. So, yeah, roll spell shaping on white.
So just neutral? Or
Yeah,
no other bonuses?
Just 0, yeah. I'm going to say target discipline. This is a very simple spell for you, so I'm going to say 2. A fair result.
Why did it not roll? There we go.
Okay, yeah. You feel this. You wave your hand. You feel the stones. Actually, your success. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So he's going to make the spell very apparent.
Okay.
So like as his little four-limb hand or whatever goes through the air, just the mana just kind of comes off of his claws, and moves in like it's just like this trail of wispy white light and whatnot that goes into each of their saddlebags,
Yeah.
and like they can see the contents of the bags glow for a moment before it fades. And if myself / Malgarian was understanding the little lizard guy right, if he's a shaman, he would probably be able to pick up the magic, like feel it or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that says to say,
That is my thank you for your information. Good hunting.
I thank you, friend. And then he makes a little, like, you can see, how to even describe this? Hold on. Like, he kind of tilts his head back and brays, and you just hear the word ride, like an extended long yell of it. But you realize that that's just translated by your spark. He's actually just made some form of, like, crazy guttural lizard noise, which in their language translates to that order.
I think he just came.
That's possible.
Yeah. And then they all kind of like sweep off and head back down the river. And I think we move then to a flying scene.
Okay, Josh, will the Pteranodon make it that far in
Yeah.
one go? Okay, then never mind. Never mind. I don't need to let it go.
That's the thing. I imagine the entire party will probably need to take a rest at some point for food and to get a water. I mean, it is a long flight. 12 hours is a long time to be in the air. So I imagine you will make a few breaks here and there.
Okay.
But just to kind of narrate like a travel scene.
But 12 hours is with breaks.
Yeah, 12 hours is, I guess, with breaks. But just as you kind of travel, you travel overhead of these like very thick forests. Eventually, the kind of more piney, I forgot what those trees are called. Pine
Sequoia.
trees.
What, the
No.
redwoods?
Evergreens?
Yeah, like the evergreens and the other. Is it deciduous?
No. Okay, deciduous are ones that look like they've, died every winter.
Right.
Yeah, they lose their leaves.
It's either deciduous or perennial.
Perennial.
Perennial. Yeah, like the perennial trees of this river valley you were in kind of die off towards more deciduous foliage. It's a thick kind of rainforesty jungle as you go along. You do see signs of life as you fly over. There are tribes basically making little villages and hut camps everywhere. Which is kind of like, which fits what Fifth had said. Some of these tribes are obviously at war. You do spot a couple combats going on, little spars for territory. Eventually you do reach a part of the forest that's very unsettling because it just looks like a long, dead trench that just stretches off in a straight line. Just brown earth in a nice little like concaved trench that's just gone through this area.
The slime thing must have been through.
That is your best estimate.
It's either that or a planeswalker came in and off a mana nuke. A very concise mana nuke.
But you guys do get to the high mountains, as they were called. These towering peaks to the west. As night has fallen, and you head towards the third peak, as Fifth had said. Which, yeah, you can see, like, these sets of just massive bonfires on one face of the mountain itself. And can smell the smell of this greasy smoke. And Bulgarian, kind of from your backstory, you kind of recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the sort of smoke. This takes you immediately back to that moment when your spark awoken. This is the smell that you get when a body burns. It's the smell of the fat burning off the body.
Gross.
Huh. Yeah, because that's always a good smell. Yeah, that's not just greasy. That's like, just burning fat. Just not pleasant to anybody. You don't even have to have a sensitive nose to be turned away from that shit.
Indeed. So, I turn the spotlight back onto you guys. You guys came up with a plan? Let's execute it.
Well, if it's built into the side of, how high up on the side of the mountain is it?
You'd say it's about, like, they haven't gone all the way up, because all the way up would be snow cap and basically uninhabitable. So they're about midway up the mountain.
So sneaking up isn't really going to be an option.
There's probably a few ridges and crests that you could, slip down, hide behind. It is nightfall. So long as Ilona can turn down her light, you can probably make it no problem.
Yeah, I don't have spell shifting, but could I, or rather, I don't have like stealth, but could I possibly illusion us not being there, or no?
You are more of a telepath. It's
that's what I figured.
Yeah, it's possible that if you knew who you were going to, like if you could see people, you could magic their minds to just ignore you. But with no people in sight, that won't really work.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily like a Mesmer from Guild Wars.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Just thought I'd ask.
Not a problem. Gonna start out a zone here.
So, wait, there was a plan?
The only plan that we had was to get over
Sneak
there
up.
and, to see what was going on. But since we already know that there's going to be a festival of some form, I guess I'm not even sure if that really matters.
Mm-hmm. So, brief discussion maybe?
Yeah, I figured once we landed, we would discuss something further.
Okay, so, if I might pitch a piece of the narrative then. You ease down into kind of a small slot canyon near the village,
Oops.
It's not... It's big enough to fit Mulgarian and the Pteranodon, and you kind of slip down into it.
Mhm.
And there you guys can briefly, without being seen, discuss what goes on, or what you're going to do from here.
So how many people are in the camp?
From what you could see flying in, there's quite a few. Like, even in this slot canyon nearby, you can hear the sounds of festivities. There are drums and primitive flute music going on. The sounds of carousing, like people's voices.
Josh, I would like to make a rapport roll, and I'm going to spend a fate point to invoke an aspect on this. Well, no, I'll do that after, if it ends up being super shitty.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to make a rapport roll, because what I'm trying to figure out is if going with shock value of, still being in gigantic freaking lizard form would be more beneficial, or showing up in a humanoid form and not freaking out the people from Jurassic Park.
Right. I get you. Okay. That's a rapport roll. You know from the reactions of people so far that if it's big, it's scaly, and it has teeth, people on this plane tend to not be too comfortable with it.
Oh, go ahead.
Like, this was to try and get an idea of, like, would it be a good idea to approach as a dragon, right?
I guess to go through the whole line of thinking, what I was trying to consider is, yes, initial reaction is going to be, oh, holy shit, that's big and scaly, so obviously it's either food and or dangerous, so fucking kill it. But, like with the other tribe, with the whole, like, hey, hi, I am actually not just here to fucking eat you. How's it going? I'm here to talk about stuff. The question is, I guess, do you think that showing up as a dragon would earn any sense of fear and or respect, leaning more towards the second? Or would it just be probably easier with whatever Tedrix had found about this tribe to just go in on equal footing?
Intimidation can be a good thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I will grant these insights. Someone in Mulgarian's head as he works this out, he understands what I just mentioned, that people seem to have not been too receptive, and rather than be intimidated, they tend to rally up and think that fighting for their lives might be the better option. Like, in his head, he kind of clicks it together that part of the reason for this is that they are so primitive. They don't have weapons. They don't have armor. They don't really have a chance of fighting back or escaping. So, fight and hope you get lucky is kind of what they have as a recourse if, like, a T-Rex came by or something like Mulgarian.
Okay. So, probably not helpful then.
Yeah. The other bit of insight that clicks in his head is this. There are a lot of people in this camp. Like, you saw them as you were coming down. And Fifth mentioned that there are a lot of strangers in that camp that are coming in and out to try and get to give sacrifice and obtain desires. It would probably be easier to slip in as a human than as a dragon. Just on that principle alone.
Fair enough.
You would have to do something about your clothes. Because you guys don't look like anything like any form of native tribe.
Isn't, well, at least in regards to Malgarian, isn't that partially assumed in his shapeshifting?
Oh yeah, he's totally cool. The other people, like, you have a lady of steampunk, someone dressed up from an oriental plane, Amatrine's flowing outfit, and Tedric in his robes.
I mean, flowing outfits aren't
Water friendly.
common.
In this plane, no.
What's the normal human garb?
Primitive
Hides.
furs, hides, woven affairs.
Hmm.
Hey, having an affair is fashionable here.
Well, it is a caveman plane.
So, are there any like outlying huts or whatever where we might be able to raid clothing, or does everyone just kind of wear what they have?
Like, to be fair, 2 of us are going to stand out anyway.
And also, at least 2 of the group are handy with making stuff.
Wait, 2 of you are gonna stand out anyway? Are you including me in that?
Yes.
Okay, just
Because-
making sure.
Malgarian shapeshifts. Ilona's half human. Tedrix is human. This is the 2 of us.
Just the 2
Yeah,
of
kind
us.
of like 9 feet tall and scaly and winged.
There were those lizard guys, so you might fit in still, actually. Got the scales.
Yeah, but there's the wings.
The wings, yes, there are the wings.
By the way, Matt, you figured out that environmental aspect of the celebration. Anyway,
Yay.
so it is a good point. Like, people in this plane don't seem to have many possessions, but they probably have extra things to wear.
How about I just go in with nothing but body paint on? That's
Yeah.
primitive, right?
I'm just gonna keep my clothes because I'm not gonna find anything to fit me.
Right. True enough. And what about Ilona? What's her take on all this?
She could just go in invisible and just not be seen.
That's true.
It would.
If you were to do that, Alona, that would give us a semblance of, well,
Surprise.
you can surprise, and it would allow us an extra asset for in case we do have to retreat.
Okay.
Plus, you can keep it. Plus, it would allow you to keep an eye on whatever happens to be going on that we can't see.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't have a way of telling you if I see something really, if it happens quickly.
Amatrine, could you link us like you had before?
Yeah, and I link us up.
Ooh, that's different. Okay.
Yeah, do you remember Megan from Young Justice with the whole
Yes.
psychic link shit?
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
So, where are we on this body paint question?
You could totally do that.
Have fun.
Alright then.
You're
I'm
small
set.
too, so you know it's not like it involves much. You could just cover yourself in blood. I think
Please
you
don't.
fit in.
And then she rolls in glitter.
Yes! This is happening. This is totally happening now.
Where do you get the blood?
Not it.
No, random animal.
Brandon.
Actually, that doesn't matter. I'm just gonna use whatever's available. If it is a small animal or whatever, fine. If it's something else, that's good too.
Well, you are in the mountains. Okay. Fizzle is a crafty little fairy, after all. And so, well, the party's after the party's discussion, she's like, I have an idea. She fiddles off, right? And I'm just gonna pitch this to you. You find some dry clay dust, a squirrel, and some berries, and manage to make a kind of a bloody magenta color out of the blood of the squirrel, the juice from the berries, and the clay, and you paint your body with it.
That sounds amazing.
Okay, then we're gonna go with that.
Do it all up in complicated patterns, and then just roll in some glitter.
You roll in the glitter. All right.
Because why not?
Yeah. Okay. So I think at that point, let's advance the scene. Fizzle comes back. Hold on. Okay.
Okay. So all I was gonna ask is, are we currently on what the lotus thingy is showing?
Yes, that's currently the mana as it is right now.
Okay. So Malgarian's gonna take. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna go ahead and shapeshift into just some generic human. Anyway.
Okay.
I was going to roll it at first, but then I'm like, it kind of doesn't matter.
What's he decked out in, Matt? Tell me.
You know what? Fuck it. He's gonna play it subtle. Drop generic human. He just turned into Conan, and is dressed to fit the role. And now I'm going to. There you go. Do you want me to roll craft or spell shaping for him to magic up a fucking sword?
Yeah, do spell shaping.
Okay. Rolling this shit is red, by the way.
Yep. I'm gonna set difficulty of. How fancy of a sword are you trying to make?
Well, I just rolled epic, so
Son of a bitch. Okay. I'm gonna say that's a.
I have fucking Frostmourne or something. I don't goddamn know.
Yeah. So that's. I was gonna set a 4 before I asked. So that's 3 shifts. So that's a succeed with style. So you succeeded with style. Go for it.
This does kind of go against the whole trying to play it low, as the initial plan had just been to be, hey, I'm going to I'm just the fucking bodyguard for these shamans and shit, but can I just make it a super strong sword?
You could do
Like
something
magically
really,
imbued.
You could do something really truly impressive for these people.
But I don't want to impress them. I'm the bodyguard.
Not true. I was gonna say you could have it be made. You could literally pull metal out of the stones and make a metal sword, and everyone would be like, oh, "He's got. It's a freaking metal sword."
I mean, I was going for metal, but okay. So yeah, we'll just say it's a metal sword, and he's used his magic to strengthen it.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a situational aspect, and it's gonna be called. I got a really impressive sword.
Eyebrow waggle.
With one manifesto on that one. Or
Yeah,
one
Josh,
free invoke.
Josh, I have no idea what Tedrix is gonna wear.
I can
It's
go like find a Demoose, and we can go like gut it for you.
You guys still have the skin from Demoose. The Demoose.
I was just gonna hand him the stone covered with magenta color. body paint.
Yeah, that's also doable.
Wait, the what?
Fizzle made some body paint out of the blood of a squirrel, berries, and some clay dust. And glitter. And you can always paint yourself up nude.
I'm not gonna be wearing stripper glitter.
Okay. You also have you did butcher that Demoose for a session, so you do have a skin of a creature that could probably clothe two of you. And Alona's invisible, so. But yeah.
All right then, I'll quickly try and craft something out of that.
Okay. Or, Fizzle is a very good craftsman, as shown that she just barely flew off into the distance for a few moments and emerged back with fully functional body paint.
I think that there is a difference between being a decent craftsman and being a murderous craftsman. There is a mild distinction between these things.
It's a fine line, really.
Josh,
Yes.
if you remember correctly, Teedrix does not like the clockwork stripper fairy.
Alright.
So, no, he'll craft it. Probably won't be spectacular, but it'll be something.
Okay.
In the end, he's got just a loincloth.
Do you have crafts?
Probably not. Like I said, it's not going to be much, but it's.
Okay.
I have to. There it is. Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah, then you might just be rolling, you'll be rolling, where was that thing? How do we roll an undone
It's
skill?
just a +0.
Yeah, it's a +0. So you're just relying on fate.
Yeah, it's right there next to all mediocre skills.
Okay, yeah, all mediocre skills. Roll that. -2.
Nope.
Yeah. So you attempt to wrestle about the deerskin, cut
Well,
it a
to
little
hell
bit.
to hell with this.
Is that how you're gonna react? Yeah.
I think there will be some expletives, but other than that, I think.
Teedrix,
What?
put on the body paint.
Nah, it's all right. While he's busy failing, I'm gonna craft him something and give it to Malgarian to give to him. It's like, yeah, just tell him you made it.
Okay. So let's go back to the let's actually scene this out. So Fizzle, having finished her body paint, is sitting next to her bowl, watching Teedrix struggle to try and make something of this skin that they had on hand. When he gives up on it, she kind of sneaks the thing back, right? And I want you to make me a crafts roll. 3 is the target. Okay. You're able to, with some bones from that squirrel you killed,
Crap.
pin together a rather actually nice looking toga with a Demoose head hood. You fold it up, you pass it to Mulgarian, right?
Uh-huh, yep.
So it is your success. What would you try and make out of it?
Oh, sorry, that sounds really good. Like, honestly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to say that I didn't notice any of this because I was too busy cursing
Failing.
God.
Why didn't I apprentice as a page to the tailor?
It's like, hey, here, just give it to him. Say you made it.
Yeah. And that takes it to Hungarian.
He's just he's just gonna be sitting there on his rock with his arms folded across his chest, just sighing, watching Tedrix try and fail, and eventually the fizzle just kind of floats over or whatever, and so you said it was a hood.
It's a toga with a hood.
Okay.
Moose hood.
Okay. Yep. Does it still have the antlers? Yes,
it still has the antlers.
Nice. Emily, I love you, but I hate the stripper fairy.
She's amazing, and you know it.
So Malgarian just kind of look at this, and he's specifically focusing on like the skull hood with the antlers and shit, and he's just sitting there looking at. Now I wish I had one. Oh well. And so then he's just gonna kind of fold it up and set it in his lap, and then whisper a quiet "Thank you, Fizzle."
Meh.
And then,
don't mention it. Seriously, don't mention it.
But he's gonna keep watching Tedrix, and he's gonna give him like a good another 5 minutes.
Yeah, because I think he's fully ranting at his Pteranodon, going, "I hate your fucking plane. This place sucks."
Tedrix, we need to be ready for the party in another 5 minutes or so. Are you going to be ready?
Does it look like I'm going to be ready?
Well, because it seems like you're having some sort of trouble over there. Would you like some assistance?
Yes, please.
All right. But this assistance comes at a price.
Oh, you bastard. That's out of character, by the way.
He's going to pull the toga from behind him, and he's just got it draped across both of his hands. Like the skull's like on one of his hands, so it's not dangling or whatever. You can take this for your disguise for this evening's party, but I want you to promise me that you are going to try to play nice with Fizzle, because I'm not going to continue to babysit you two while you continue to bicker like a married couple.
Out of character. What about Alona?
He's been nice to Alona.
He's been nicer to Alona than he has Fizzle.
I want you to promise me, Tedrix, that I will not have to keep babysitting you two to make sure that a conversation can actually happen.
Don't rush me, I'm thinking.
Oh my god, just give him the fucking thing!
You just hear that from 50 feet off in the distance.
Fine. I will try to be more civil to the pixie.
Say that you promise.
Secret dragon.
Unfortunately, you can't see the faces I'm making as I'm trying to play this out.
Stop. Does anyone want to offer him a compel of I must impress the dragon? Because
I was wanting to let the roleplay happen before I was going to drop that motherfucker.
No, he is going to. He does promise. It's just. And that's the only reason why he's doing it. is because he wants to impress the dragon. Otherwise, it would be "fuck you, fairy."
Okay, so in the rule set, there's a thing called retroactive compel, where if it would have been a compel, but you just played it out anyway, you can still go back and say, hey, that probably should have been a compel.
Yeah.
So before we even get to...
Do you get
Yeah.
benefits for doing the Oh,
Yeah.
because I know that if you compel, we get a fate point.
Yeah, if you compel another player, you can give them a fate point.
But it doesn't have to be one of mine.
No, it does have to be one of yours. You can, like, trade fate points back and forth between the party.
No, it's my fate point. You can't have it. Fuck off.
Okay, then I'm just going to give Teedrix... I'm going to just give Teedrix a fate point right here for a compel. There you go, Teedrix.
Yay! Although it didn't.
And also, you know, you asked if we wanted to compel that, which meant that, like, it was kind of your idea to compel it.
Yeah, that's why I'm just like, I'll just give him one. I was just like, this really seems like it should be a compel.
Actually, I was actually going more off of my mistakes haunt me and the fact that I don't work with others very well that aren't human.
Okay, cool. So, with that said, about 45 minutes have passed in this little slot canyon. Moon's high. and everyone's suited up.
And 40 of those minutes were Teedrix cursing at God.
No, I say like maybe 5 minutes were discussion, 5 minutes were, and then it was Teedrix cursing God. So, we shall move on. Gonna set the scene as the party walks, or our planeswalkers walk into this town. Okay.
Okay.
There is, as it states in the environmental aspect, a raucous celebration going on. Primitive wines are being drank rather heavily. People are feasting. There's a lot of coupling going on in various tents.
Oh, call it what it is. They're banging hard.
This
It's
is
fucking intense.
This is the age of history, well before monogamy was ever invented as an institution.
Just no reaction to that.
What?
No reaction.
I said it was fucking intense.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't hear you.
Annie?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say anything.
That's true. You hit something in the chat, and I was like, "Are you trying to get my attention?"
No, sorry. I'm trying to fill out new hire paperwork at the same time because it's a lot of sign my name, sign my name, sign my name.
Indeed. All right, so,
What the hell?
So, yeah.
Immediately you guys seem to get some attention, right? Specifically, a lot of eyes are on Fizzle. And within a few moments,
right.
it rapidly becomes apparent why. There are numerous altars set up all over, most of them covered in blood. And near them, there's always like a fire.
Oh, fuck.
Dancing around the fire is a number of women who are completely nude and covered in blood-based body paints.
Teedrix is looking away.
Malgarian is not.
Nope, neither am I.
Eventually, like, someone bumps into Amatrine. Sorry. Yeah. And he hands you a clay, it's a dome or a round clay cup, just filled with. It's the most primitive alcohol you've ever smelled, and even just holding it, you can smell the booze.
It's moonshine.
Yes. But he thrust the cup into your hands to as apology for bumping into you, and staggers off to find another. Even to this late in the night, you kind of see like people approaching some of these Blood Witch altars, and normally offering up some form of living creature. Like the small ones, it's normally like a rabbit or like a fawn demoose or something like that. But you notice that like the village kind of goes up on an incline, and there are steps carved into the mountain that lead up to the biggest bonfire of them all, where there is a massive altar. And there is a woman standing in pretendance of this. She is not naked, though she is attended by 15, or, no, not 15, that's too much. Sorry. I got away with my improvisation. I'd say about 6 dancing, body-painted women around her fire. She has the most extreme hairdo you've ever seen. Dressed in a dress of furs.
Braids. So many braids in the hairstyle. Please.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's some hair I'd like to pull.
And she's standing up there, behind that large bonfire.
Does she have the stone?
You can't quite see from here. Another thing you get a sense of is there are pens, apparently for where the sacrifice waits, made of bones everywhere. Some of them have large game, like large animals that have been offered. Some of them have people in them. You also notice there's 2 distinct types of people. There are people who look very much like human, and there's people that seem a little more primitive. They have thicker jaws, taller foreheads, longer limbs. They're a little hairier. Bit more stooped in their posture. And all in all, except for like the people being kept, there's something wrong with the air. Maybe it's the smell, but also you realize that the air is just thick with red and black mana. Like, almost chokingly so. And no, Matt, you don't even have to roll a spell shape for that. You can
Yay.
just feel it. Like, there's a lot of black in this air. As you walk past one of the altars, a small, like one of the Demoose fawners, like sacrificed, you hear the person's wish that he wants for his next hunt to be bountiful enough to feed his family of 4. And he offers up the fawn. A like stone dagger is plunged into its heart, and the Blood Witch pulls the blood from the thing's body, shapes it in the air like it's floating like magically between her fingers, and then it like burns off into mist. She leans forward with a bloodstained hand and like marks the dude's face, and you can see the transfer of like just pure mana into the guy as she works her spell and enchants him for both fortune in his hunt and also like an enhancement on his skills as a hunter. So, what now?
Gotta get closer.
A little bit. I looked at her chest.
As you get closer, yes, you do realize that she's dressed very conservatively for a tribe that has so many naked women. like pretty much only her arms and her ankles are exposed. Oh, and her face. But yes, you see on a golden chain there is a red stone hanging about from that chain.
Right. Well then.
So, assuming that we're far enough away that we're not going to be like obviously overheard by whoever is over there, Malgarian's going to kind of pipe up with. So the question is, oh, that's right.
We're connected in our mind.
Okay. Well, I guess since it's brain talky.
Given how she parades the gem around, I don't think she's going to exactly want to give it up. The question that we have, I guess, I'll put out is, how do we want to go about trying to do this? Because we could play the card of we are associates of insert Planeswalker's name here.
Bane.
Vayne. We are associates of Vayne and need the stone on his behalf.
What's the likelihood that she knows that Bane is dead?
What's the likelihood she even knows who Vayne actually is the unfortunate thing. Didn't the book you read say that it was like her great grandmother that the stone was given to in the first place?
Yeah, it was only 20 years ago.
So it could have been. How old does she look?
Probably about her 30s.
So he probably gave it to her mother.
Yep. So there's a possibility that we might be able to say that.
Actually, you know what? Josh, I could swear that you said that it was her mother.
No, I haven't specified anything like that, I don't think. He said he gave it to a young girl. That he did specify that in his journal.
Okay, then in all likelihood, he gave it to her directly.
Alright. That does potentially do us favors and potentially damns us. It depends on how. He gave it to her. Didn't it say that he gave it to her because she seems to be worthy of it? Or something along those lines?
I can confirm that, yes.
Yeah, out of character. I'm really tired, so I don't know.
Yeah, I can, as GM, I can confirm that, yes. He did give the stone to a promising young acolyte who seemed the least tainted by their practices.
Well, that seems to have changed, huh?
She is less naked than the rest of her tribe.
What does naked have to do with anything?
Unfortunately, a large number of cultures in the multiverse seem to hold.
Frown upon nakedness.
I was going to say seem to promote prudishness, but it's all a matter of perspective.
You mean like T-Drix, who can't seem to look at any of the naked?
T-Drix, that is your problem.
Alright. First, we should probably be polite. Bring a sacrifice. Bulgarian, get something really huge. Really huge. I want to impress the fuck out of her.
If I'm going to bring back something huge, then the subtlety of being as I am now is going to be kind of defeated.
also it's amusing to me to think that this big barbarian man is around with this dragon voice.
This is because it's an interior. It's a psychic conversation that they're having in their noggins because, Amatrine.
Right.
Malgarian.
Mm,
How important would it be to impress the fuck out of this woman?
okay, all right. It doesn't have to be like huge, like you got to be dragon huge, but it needs to be pretty big. Come on.
Malgarian.
Hmm.
How big do you need a sacrifice to be?
Well, here's
Or
If we're going to use the physics idea to impress her tremendously, what would we need to do as a sacrifice?
well, the sacrifices are required for them to work their magic. If we're simply trying to ask for the stone, I'm not sure if a sacrifice is really going to matter for that, because that's all they are using the sacrifices towards, simply the magic. What would be...
What's wrong? Are you dying? Shit, no, Sarah. I'm on a live call, Sarah. I'm sorry. I asked for something from my sister so that she could become my beneficiary, and then she decided to react like that upon walking into my room to give me
I
what I
love
need.
Sarah.
Anyway.
Huh.
It's going to depend on if she's going to ask for a sacrifice in return, or if she's going to deny us outright, or if we promise to try and bring the stone back, assuming that the pillars don't need it.
If we need a sacrifice, I have something.
I can... If we need a sacrifice, I can go bring something back too. That way you don't lose your pride. But my point is, we don't... The sacrifices are specifically for the magic. And we won't know if she's going to ask for one until we talk to her.
True.
So, are you guys heading up to towards the woman, up the steps?
Yeah, after that statement, I am.
Okay.
Malgarian's gonna stay behind the people that he's bodyguarding for, and just keep his sword at his hip.
I'm staring at the ground.
Ahead of you, in the procession, is how do you describe her? She is a very large. She looks like one of those kinda human, like primitive humans. Obviously female, very large. She's wearing a little bit finer garb than everyone else. More jewels and tassels and things in her and trophies in her hair. And she is flanked by 2 normal human men. But they look almost exactly similar to Malgarian in muscle mass. You'd estimate just from the back of this woman that she's about probably 60 or 70. But still looks like she could grab one of these smaller men and break him in 2 over her knee.
I'm trying to figure out how she managed to live to 60 or 70 in this kind of technology. Medicine.
Magic.
Shh!
Maybe.
Don't you fucking throw the obvious into this.
Well, as though to answer your question, Matt, she gets up to the thing, and you notice a couple of guards waiting at a platform who kind of like click together stone spears in front of you, like wait until the person in front of you is done. But she approaches the woman, and you can hear the dialogue exchange between them. As Arikari, the leader of the Blood Witches, simply says, "You come to me on this beginning of the moon. What do you desire that I can grant?"
Emily, do you find this amusing?
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
And the Neanderthal woman simply says, "I wish to be younger, so I may lead my tribe for more years." Arikari nets her hands together in front of her and simply says, "Have you brought a suitable sacrifice?" And she simply, the woman replies, "I have." It's almost ritual, honestly. It's, as what's brought up from the pens, is a scrawny young man, about, I don't know, 13, and laid upon the altar. The child seems sedate, calm.
Like actually sedated, or he's just he's good with this.
Roll me a notice check. I'm going to say difficulty 3.
While he's
Bulgarian.
doing that, I am going to say goodnight.
Okay.
Because,
Yeah.
I'm falling asleep.
Your chair.
Night, Jimmy.
So,
Good night, Jimmy.
good night. Sorry, guys.
It's all good.
It's okay.
Well, either way, Matt, you can roll it at 0. Okay. All right, then. I turn it over to you, then. Bulgarian doesn't quite notice any signs of foul play. And I turn it over to you as far as narrative.
Well,
Alright.
okay, because just because I want to be clear about mechanic stuff, because there was that whole you can always just choose to win to make it anyway.
Mhm.
But at a cost. So if I were to do that, what would said cost be?
This isn't a terribly important detail, but I could see it being very important for your character. I'd say he'd have to take 1 point of mental stress as a cost for succeeding.
Fair enough. I'll do it.
Okay. So mark off your first box of mental stress. You only have your 2-point box left.
And my third.
Oh, yeah, and your third. Sorry, I forgot you had such high will. So Mulgarian succeeds. You notice that the boy has been given something. Like, there's a small wound on his back, because he is literally in just, like, a loincloth, that looks like it might have been where he was administered something, like a primitive form of medicine. So he was given something. He doesn't seem to have any of the signs, however, of being, like, out of his mind stoned. Like, his pupils aren't dilated, he's not he doesn't stumble or anything, he moves on his own accord.
So it's just as likely that he could actually just already be dying.
Yeah, it's just as likely that he might be dying, or maybe he's been given something to deal with the whole, like, I'm being sacrificed thing, like maybe a painkiller of some variety. But you can't see any, like, signs that he's been sedated to make him okay with this.
Well, as long as it seems like he's doing it of his own will, as much as Mulgarian doesn't like it.
Alright. So, Arikari has a obsidian-bladed dagger, which she then plunges into the dude, like, right underneath the sternum, right up into the heart. Pulls it out, swift incision to the jugular, and begins to pull the child's blood from his body, as you've seen done to the smaller children, or the other small sacrifices. Although, what gets you this time is just this wave of parasitic, just like black mana that comes off of Arikari as she makes this spell happen. You also notice the stone on her chest starting to glimmer and glow as she uses the trickle of red mana that comes from it for just a little bit extra to make this spell work. And she pushes that pattern that she forms in the air, which you get a good sight of it. It's crude as hell. Like, you're like, this is not really a stable spell by any stretch of the imagination, but powered by another creature's life, it is very potent. And she just pushes it into this person. You watch as, like, the age lines erase from this Neanderthal woman's body, and she's rejuvenated with the life of her sacrifice. She bows to the Coven leader and moves off to a side of the pyramid, which has a stairway down. Or the ramp up, which has a path down. And the body of the child, now drained of blood, is taken and added to the fire to dispose of it.
I know no one can see it, but Alona's crying. In fact, she is further up because she wasn't sure she wouldn't make a noise.
So, with that, the spears part, and you're allowed up to the top of this altar. What do?
Hello there.
Good evening.
So, it's kind of an awkward situation we're in right now.
We do not desire the magic.
Oh? Then what favor have you come to ask for? For tonight is the new moon ceremony.
Well, I'd like
Everyone-
2 favors, but everyone else actually just wants the one, and that's the stone that Vane gave you.
You know of Vane.
Mm-hmm. I do.
We're friends. Mention we're friends. Whispering in your head. Mention we're fucking friends.
Which you can whisper into her head.
Yeah, that's why I said it that way.
You just weren't being a dragon voice.
Ah.
I didn't want to have to tab over that many times. Like, I seriously need to set that to, like, a freaking hotkey or some shit.
I need a mute hotkey. Anyway, so, yes, Fizzle, at this point, you're speaking for the party. What do you say?
We're doomed.
Say, yeah.
Say, yeah. Oh.
We understand he gifted that to you.
Yes, he did. Many, many years ago. You said you were friends of his. I have not seen Vane since I was about 5 years old. I have further work to be done if you do not have a wish. There are at least 3 more that I must meet with.
Mm-hmm.
Do you wish to talk further?
I'd love that.
Very well. I will have one of my guards lead you to my resting place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
We will discuss after. And
Oh, sure.
you notice one of this individual come out from around. She is a woman in bone armor, painted ash, or like literally like ash black in body paint underneath this these bone armor, wielding a massive a massive axe. And you notice that this axe is edged in bronze. She simply gestures to you and leads you away from the altar, a little ways behind it, where there is a small cave opening that has been shuttered off with some construction, with some wooden constructions. He pulls aside like a fur for you, and you find yourself inside Arikari's, basically her domicile. This woman, this blood guard, waits outside.
Oh, I'm so snooping around.
Melgarian's going to go ahead and take up a position at the door.
Okay.
Because I'm just the bodyguard, bro.
I'm going to narrate this in two parts. First, we're going to go for what Fizzle snoops around in her cave. This woman has a lot of, like, witchcraft trappings in her cave. She has, like... At first you just think they're drawings on the walls, but you realize that they're, like, the beginnings of a spell book. Like, the pictograms and symbols that she's using, they're very primitive magic, but they are actually, like, here is how to do a spell, and here's how to make the pattern and the shape with the mana, and here's how to make the blood work as a conduit for the energy. Like, she's got these instructions all on her cave walls. She has a number of skulls of various animals and a couple people. A couple of them marked with marks and writings. And, like, one of them, your spark translates as, like, literally to a spurned lover. Like, it's a name, and then my spurned lover. A couple other names of various nemesis she's had, where she has literally the skull as a trophy now. She has an Athane, like, you recognize it. It's a ritual dagger for spell casting. And then in, like, the far back of the cave, there is, like, her living space, a bed made of furs on a wooden frame, a fire pit, various, like, clay jugs for water and food to be stored in. The entire place is covered. The floor is literally covered in fur rugs, so that it's never cold on the floor. And then we move back to Mulgarian, who's watching. You watch a few of the other sacrifices as they happen, always with that thick black mana, lightly tinged with red from the stone. And you realize that not everyone wishes selfishly. The next person after you literally wishes for a bountiful harvest. And receives, and for their sacrifice, they sacrifice a large predatory raptor that snaps and snarls as it goes to the altar. For their sacrifice, she literally, like, condenses the magic down into a skull, into the skull of the raptor, and hands it to them. And for them and instructs them, buried in the ground of your orchards, and they will be fruitful. So not all of and there's another person who wishes to cure another individual. Not all of the wishes are entirely selfish, but let's face it, it's now about 50-50. After she's done, and knows that there'll be no more large spells requiring her aid, she turns and starts to walk away.
Okay, so while they were still doing all of those other ones, I went, how would you want to run, like, detecting, trying to sense for magical traps or something? Like, trying to make sure that this room isn't warded to be rigged with anything?
I'd say that's just a simple spell shaping.
Okay, no particular color or anything, or unless you're going to flavor it a certain way?
Yeah, unless you're going to flavor it with a certain narrative way. That's kind of like when you made paper yesterday. That'd be a cantrip. All of the schools would basically have that.
Okay. Does anybody particularly feel like rolling for that, or should I just do it?
I guess you do it.
Okay, because you are all better spellcasters than Bulgarian is.
I need to point that out. Yeah, you were all better spellcasters than Bulgarian. He is definitely der muscle.
Like, it's only a +1 difference, but the +1 goes a long way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was reading one of my papers. What exactly are you trying to do again?
Just trying to roll to make sure that the room isn't, like, magically trapped or warded for any particular things or whatever.
Okay.
Are there
yeah,
any
I can do
active
that.
spells in the area?
I shall check.
Okay. Do you want to narrate this, maybe between the two of you? Like,
Bulgarian,
So-
I imagine Bulgarian might just quietly ask in everybody's head, be like, anybody detecting any magic going on in here?
Alright. At that point, I know you don't want to have the too many cooks thing, but do you mind if there's an assist?
considering the size of the room and the task, I can see 2 people doing this. Yes.
Okay.
So Alona, what she'll do is, can she sense? I want to say that she senses things through the light, so she can get sort of an idea
Okay.
if there's a light source that she can. If she can perceive the light source, she can use it to sense things anywhere else that the light source reflects off of.
Okay.
So basically, kind of gives her a little bit of a around corners effect. So she's going to send her power through that sense.
Okay. I can see that working.
Do I have any modifiers to this, sir?
-1, because I believe you're working through blue on this one, right?
Yes.
Oy.
Sorry, my net went out for a couple there.
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay. Alright. I'm just doing a general, but she normally uses blue. Do you want me to have that -1 as well, or just normal?
Because you said that it's pretty much an anything, it's just a cantrip. Are we able to cast colorless spells?
Yeah, you can cast colorless. Any mage can cast colorless.
Yeah, so then it doesn't necessarily have to have the minuses then.
Yeah. I'd say that
Alright.
just to make sure that this is clear as far as narrative, like, if you're doing something big, it can't just be a colorless spell. You need to use a color with it. But in this case, because it's just a cantrip that almost everything could do, yeah, you could cast colorless on this one.
Alright.
Okay. Do I take that then to mean that mine would have been a 5 then, or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that didn't work.
No. I'd say those are fine.
I meant like as well as I hoped.
Yeah, those are both fine. You do detect some magic at the place. She does have a few little, like, things drawn in paint on certain shelves and items. Like, you can't touch her spellcasting gear. She has a rune underneath it that will probably, considering it's a red spell, probably explode if you touch her, like, her Athane and her other witch tools from their place on their little carved niche in the wall. The trophies of her defeated enemies are similarly warded with. You actually detect it from just like a single red thread that's in the rope. That if it comes undone, will probably trigger some form of spell. Emily, did you actually hear your part of the description before your net went out?
That I, basically just described her living chambers.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure you got that. So yeah, that's what you guys find.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask, is there enough room that Alona would be able to be in the hut there? I should have asked this sooner. Like, with everyone, or could she like fly in and out of a window type area?
There's enough room for everyone in this cave.
Okay.
It's a fairly large one.
So the ceiling's high enough that she can flit in and out since she's invisible.
It might be a little difficult because first there is the fur in the way,
Okay.
which Algarian's kind of holding open, and then there's that blood guard woman who is standing directly in front of the door.
Hmm.
So I might have to have you make a sneaky check.
I don't think I'm that stinky. I'm average on deceive. Would that be the closest thing?
I believe was deceive the social one.
That's
yeah,
what I
Deceive is
thought.
the social.
Deceive is for talking and lying and bluffing.
Because otherwise, I have next closest thing is athletic.
Yeah, and athletic is for like moving about and jumping.
Do you have an aspect?
I don't think I have any aspects like that.
Well, I'd ask what is the aim for trying to flip back and forth in and out?
Basically, to keep an eye on what's going on in the rest of the camp.
Okay.
But if I'm in here, it's fine.
Well, we didn't really specify that, so we could always say that she never entered the cave. She was invisible, and therefore no one knew she was there in the first place. So she might just be sitting there keeping watch from the outside.
I think that would be better for us, is if I have a little bit more motion that I can have.
Okay, yeah. So she's sitting outside the cave. You get to see what Malgarian sees as the last few wishes are taken care of. So, is there anything else anyone else wants to do? Amatrine, perhaps?
I mean, aside from just the browsing around that we're doing to get some insight, I would just kind of want to wait so I can know what she's gonna say.
Okay. So let's move on. Malgarian and Ilona watch as Arikari moves along this path, now with another blood guard behind her. This one has a bronze-tipped spear. And they move along down this path. She holds open the door, notices Malgarian kind of standing there, excuses herself to move past you. Then enters the cave itself. She pulls up
No. I was going to say Malgarian just kind of nods and steps aside.
She walks up to the fire pit in the middle of the cave, pulls up a stool that's made of 3 legs and a leather hide, or a boiled hide wrapped around it, and leans down to the fire. The little stone on her chest glimmers a little bit more. She summons up a bit of flame, using up some of the blood that's still on her hands from the sacrifices, and lights up this little fire for warmth as she sits back and kind of takes stock of the 4 of you, because Tedrix is kind of sitting quietly in the back. She has no idea that Ilona's there at the moment.
Hello again.
So, You mentioned a need of my stone.
Yes. Yes, it's a key, and we need that key. It opens the thing.
She seems weirded out by the idea of key. Like she doesn't understand the word.
We need it to fit in a hole to open something.
That she seems to understand now. And this is connected.
It's not Fizzle's vagina. That is an out of character comment.
She kind of takes a moment. And this is connected to Vane? In what way?
Yep. It opens a dwelling, or well, I guess it's opens a part of his dwelling that he needs to open.
He has a dwelling?
Yeah. It's really big. It's very nice. It's very nice. Been there.
Fizzle, keep it simple.
She seems to be wrestling with a question in her mind, like something she wants to ask, but doesn't seem to quite want to.
What do you want to know?
So, I'm actually going to kind of run this as a conflict, but a very social conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be going off of, like, you know, the social skills. Deceive, rapport, empathy. So, you ask her, what do you want to know?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have rapport to work this?
I do.
Okay. Give me a rapport and she'll rock her will against that. Because she doesn't want, like, you kind of get a sense of this. She doesn't want to appear weak. She is the high matriarch and high priestess of a very powerful clan, and she is not used to ever showing weakness. Alright.
Well, I mean, if she doesn't want to appear weak, we could just, like, mug her with a dragon. So somebody's like, what the fuck? Why are you losing fights and shit? She'd be like, it's from a fucking flying dinosaur that breathes lightning, asshole!
Alright. So, Fizzle rolls a 3, she rolls a -2. Is that a succeed with style? It's 3 shifts to make a succeed with style.
Yeah, and that's 4 shifts, sorry.
Oh, 4 shifts? Okay.
Well, because it depends. Do you count... So if you match is, you know, obviously tying. But,
yeah.
So if you beat them by 1, that's a shift of 1, right? So you're looking at the difference.
Right, yeah. We're looking
so
at
it is 4 shifts.
4 shifts. Dang, okay. Fizzle. You see, like, right through her, and I'm gonna let you narrate her success. Her issue is she doesn't. She's in her mind. She knows Vane is dead, but she doesn't want to ask it. Narrate your success.
So we're all kind of dancing around the issue. I know what you want to know.
Son of a bitch. We're like having this serious scene.
See, to be fair, I do apologize because I was typing that before the context of how you were trying to frame that came to be. So I'll Yeah, I apologize for that one, but yeah, carry on.
It's fine.
Damn it.
Okay.
Let's see. So we're dancing around an issue. I know what you're I know what you're I know what you're thinking, or I know what you want to know. Son of a bitch. Where was I?
Basically, I know what you want to know, and then
Mhm.
you trailed off.
Yeah, because Matt and.
Sorry.
Oh my
Apologize,
goodness.
guys.
Um. The answer is yes. I mean, he's obviously quite old. It's his time. Um. This is about retrieving something of his. That we can put to very good use. But we need the stone.
Okay. I'm gonna propose something to you mechanically here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep this going for another little thing. But technically, well, no. Okay, yeah. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, so she's taken that took away all of her mental stress right there. Sorry, I was miscounting my numbers. Continue.
Okay. What? Well, great. Keep getting interrupted. Um, see, we need the stones. So that we can continue Vane's legacy.
All right. So.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Amatrine is just slightly, looking slightly surprised at Fizzle.
So.
And then she looks over at Amatrine, sees the face, sticks out her tongue, looks back, very serious, back to Harry Curry.
For a moment before you looked away, you looked like whatever will this woman had kind of broke a little bit.
Oh.
Like you saw like a flicker of emotion past her face, but she watches you also turn your head to your companion, stick out your tongue, and when you look back at her, she just has like the faintest of smiles on her face. Like that just amused her a little bit. Anyway, cat. Anyway, so it is to continue Fane's legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of like touches at the stone that jingles on the golden chain. This has been very important to me. It not only is the only memento I have of him and the things he taught me, but also of it has ensured my rise to the position I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
With the stone, I can work and she calls it witchcraft without, at least small things, without needing blood, either my own or someone else's.
That is understandable. Hmm.
I am hesitant to part with it.
How do you feel about glitter?
What is this word?
I love you, Emily.
Let me show you. And I will show her some glitter.
Okay,
How
this is called
show her the
flashing.
glitter.
I just want that to be understood.
This
Okay,
is-
it's not flashing if she's not wearing any clothes already.
Fair point.
I ask, how are you showing her the glitter?
Oh my.
She always
Would you
has
like a
glitter.
cup of tea?
Well, okay. Since we're being very serious here, she's not gonna do something like shove her chest in her face and see all the sparkly bits. No, she's actually gonna get one of her pouches and then take out some of the glitter. Actually, she's going to get the special pouch.
The special.
Special pouch.
Okay, I've made too many vagina jokes tonight. I'm just gonna let that one be. I mean, you're buck ass naked. What the fuck special pouch are you talking about?
We'll just say that she's not so daft as to not have worn a belt with her body paint for the pouch of special glitter that she apparently needs.
You know the pouch, the mana glitter.
Yes. So you pull this mana glitter out. She seems intrigued because it is sparkly. What is that?
Well, okay. This is a little more potent than standard glitter. But
Teller works similar to the rock.
In the head, this goes through.
Yeah.
backseat drivers.
No, let's be honest. This is called cock blocking.
But like I said, this one's a little more potent than your standard glitter. But if you can find the right components, it's very easy to make. And in fact, I feel like you could probably condense the right components yourself, especially considering the kind of magic you tend to do. So you'd only need certain kinds. But I am willing to give you this pouch of my very special glitter, so that you can both study some of it and make use of any that you need until you can manufacture your own.
All right, so we're gonna do another, like.
Are you giving up your stunt?
No,
Well, I
she's
can
not.
always just make more.
Yeah, she can just make more.
Okay.
I will count this as giving up your stunt for the session.
That is perfectly fair.
Okay. But so let's so you're attempting to, again, I'm not sure to make this a rapport or a resources, because you're basically trading now.
I don't have resources.
Which would be
Except
resources.
for the fact that I have a resource.
But it's
That I'm trying to
convincing
sell
her
her on.
to trade.
Yeah, but she's trying to also keep up her rapport with her and get a positive reaction out of her.
So, isn't rapport usually used for like trying to bargain, but resources being used for having things to trade?
Resources is both having things to trade and bargaining for them. Knowing what things are worth, knowing how to, barter back and forth and deal with the merchant type. So rapport would work in this regard because you're trying to keep up and get a positive reaction from her and have a positive interaction with this woman and show her a better way, right? That's kind of the intention.
Like, yeah, I'm basically here just trying to say, like, here, there are other ways you can do this, and I'm willing to just let you have this one.
Yeah. How about this? We'll go rapport versus her will again. But the big crux of it is that she looks at the thing and she's like, to her this seems like alien and strange and weird. Like, she can feel the magic from the glitter, and she knows that it's similar to the stone.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that you can just make this is just like astonishing to her. Like, the ruby around her neck is, to her knowledge, unique. Like, very few people, like, these don't exist. So she turns to you and goes, if you teach me how to make this and the pouch,
I will teach you anything you like.
okay, so
Oh
let's roll it off. Will versus rapport.
Okay.
As an aside, by the way, what is your crafts skill at?
Good.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you beat her. All right.
She's into it.
Yeah.
She is into it. This could change many things. If anyone could learn this, it could change many things.
But if you learned it,
If I learn it, then I can teach it to others.
exactly.
And
You could
that's
teach it to those who are worthy.
So at this point, just go ahead, Matt.
it's fine. I just had already been exhaling to try it. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. She does have to take a consequence because this is still a thing. She has no mental stress left, so she has to take one of her consequences. It's a mild consequence. Emily,
Mm-hmm.
what's this consequence called?
Sorry, God. So
I want-
to say hot for teacher.
I'll go with that, yeah. I was going to say something like seduced by glitter, but no, hot for teacher works. Bam, mild consequence. Okay. Anyone who's engaged in this conflict can invoke that consequence for a bonus against her.
I would like to do that potentially right now as well, even.
Okay.
This actually works out well, because this is the thing I was going to do a moment ago. So, Malgarian is going to step forward, and he's going to he's going to draw his sword out, but he's going to keep it point down. He's just going to set the tip of the sword against the ground, right? Oh, actually, by the way, did you come to a decision or find anything about if we're able to invoke multiple aspects at once?
Okay, so what I found is, technically, you can evoke as many aspects as apply.
Fan-fucking-tastic. Okay. I am making a rapport roll.
So long as you have fate points to invoke them.
I have many a fate point. I still have all three. So I'm going to invoke Hot for Teacher, and I have a spiffy sword.
Okay.
And pretty much what's happening is, when he pulls out this sword and he shows it to her, he's going to motion. So he's got it. the hilt in one hand, just holding it upright. He's going to motion towards it with the other and say, use your magic to sense what you can of this blade. I want you to feel the power that is in this sword.
All right.
And I mean, can we just assume that she makes her spellcraft checks and she can, just use the freaking stone to do it?
Yeah.
If nothing else. Okay. So she senses the epic success roll off of this fucking sword, right?
Right. In fact, here. This is her. Okay, modifier 1. Boop. Yeah, that's her spell shaping right there.
Okay, so she knows this is like there's a shit ton of power in this sword.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So once that realization sets in, he then says, I am the weakest in witchcraft out of all 4 of us. And I created this at a whim. If you can find it in yourself to dedicate to a more stable magic than that you get from the sacrifices, you and your descendants can wield this sort of power to help improve your entire world.
All right.
And the entire point of this is I'm trying to get her to commit to turning her entire tribe away from black magic because I'm a dick. And I am dropping 2 fate points, not faint points, to fucking do it.
Okay. So we're gonna take these 2 fate points.
So isn't it a +2 for each aspect?
If you choose to, yes.
Okay.
Roll your stuff first before taking the bonus for invokings, but I guess you could right now if you'd like.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Did it not roll? It did not roll.
It did not roll.
Motherfucker. Let's keep doing it. Okay, yeah, I'll take the +4. I want an epic success. I am fucking up her world with, hey, I'm the bodyguard. I am the worst spellcaster here, and I fucking made this because I felt like it.
All right. Okay. So.
Because I don't use black mana.
So that's your rapport roll. I have to attempt to meet this with a +1 will. Yeah, she's like, I'm sitting here looking at what other things I could invoke for her. None of her aspects work, and none of the environmental aspects work. She wouldn't be able to invoke any of the campaign aspects. So, yeah, I have to just go with that.
Well, and even if she did, I still succeed with style, because in the end, after I use my aspects, it's a +7 versus a +4. So.
All right, so I'm going to have to concede the conflict here.
Do I not get to push another consequence on her?
Well, you do, but that's the thing. She doesn't have like the difference there. She's got a 2. You have a 7. That means that I need to soak 7 points, but I only have enough consequences for 3 of them. She can't. The only way for her to continue in this conflict, which makes no sense for her to do, would be, yeah, we can make that. That'll be her moderate consequences, disenfranchised with black. I put it on the sheet right now. Her moderate consequence. Disenfranchised with black. Technically, she has 1 more mild she could take. Or she has 1 more consequence that she could take. So, does anyone have any suggestions?
willing to help. No, I'm kidding.
No, that's an outcome, not a consequence.
I know. Well, she becomes super subby.
Annie, did you have anything?
Like, something along the lines of consequence now being uncertain because we're changing her fucking worldview.
That maybe the world is bigger than I knew before.
That works, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's more out
she
there.
Okay, so that's all her consequence. She does have to concede at this point. So, let's negotiate what actually happens with this woman. What would you like to see happen with her? I mean, obviously, you want her to give up black.
And we need to get the rock.
And you need to get the rock. Is there anything else?
Well, I figure we can stop cock blocking Fizzle.
And anyone can, even the people who weren't involved in the conflict, can jump on this. If you have anything that specifically you'd like to see happen with this next scene, this resolution.
Yeah. Alona's thing that she was not happy about was the murdering of children.
Mm-hmm.
It seems very exploitive to her, and she has some issues with being a slightly exploited child.
Right.
And so the fact that this is going to end that makes her quite pleased.
Yeah, I guess beyond just the disenfranchised with the black magic would be to understand the, I guess the worth of human life, or whatever life.
Well, no, I wouldn't. That doesn't. I don't think works because they value the life. That's why it's a sacrifice.
I know.
They just have another way to.
I didn't word it correctly, but the way that. Never mind.
I have something that I'd like to see happen. You see this woman kind of break down a little bit more. Like, the mask of, like, this strong, confident clan leader kind of breaks a little bit and simply says, this is almost too much. This is almost not real. The gifts you're offering just for this stone are astonishing. I don't know at all what I could do to repay any of you. And yet...
Oh, I got some ideas. What? Who said that?
I want for one further thing. I will give you the stone in exchange for all you offer. That this is more than a fair trade, but I would selfishly like to ask for one thing more.
At this point, I would like for Malgarian to raise his hand, because I think I know where you're going, and if not, then if it was wrong, then you can just shoot it down and you can continue. Is she about to ask? She wants to be able to make her peace with Vayne.
Bingo.
Yeah, Malgarian's going to step forward and be like, I will take you to Vayne's resting place. We will be there by sundown tomorrow.
She just kind of hangs her head in a very somber manner. Realize, like, the implications of what just happened is like kind of settling down on her shoulders, and it is very heavy to her. As she simply just says, "Thank you. Take the whatever you wish from the celebration. It is all shared. It is funny. These nights are about us using the lives of others and the lives of those offered to grant the desires of everything who comes to this place in exchange for additional power. But tonight, I think you all granted my wish.
Roll in the hay?
Is that in character?
No.
No, she wanted closure on her friend and teacher.
I know.
But
Way to
she's
go,
gonna
Matt.
get the other one. Oh no.
So I think at this point I'm gonna pitch the final scene for the session. With all the sacrifices concluded, those sacrifices that were turned away are let out of those bone pens. Arikari has a lot to think about and remains where she is. You guys can basically go out and receive food and whatever else you wish from the celebration that is still going on. And I think that's where we'll draw to a close for tonight.
Question.
Yes. Any final things that anyone would like to be doing while this is going on? So
As far as the rampant sexual debauchery that you had mentioned is going on, is this just for the sake of because it doesn't feel good, or is this also like a, in some cases, merging of the tribes, as it were, people like actively trying to get the knocked up?
a little bit for the actively trying to get up the knocked up.
Cool.
I'm
I'm gonna cast a big white spell.
Oh my. I will state this, like, the thing to remember about the time period you're all in is that there was kind of an arms race, but not an arms race for weapons. It was for children. The more children you had and the more children you could produce, the greater your territory and strength. So any opportunity to potentially expand for a fertility blessing.
And I will even throw my last fate point into this shit. Abdicated Broodlord.
Oh my. Okay. Plus
You
5.
are just like all the sharing, aren't you, Matt?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, here's the other thing. Well, okay, I'll let you finish your thing, Josh, before I continue with my shit.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing to understand. Like, getting pregnant and producing a child was like a big deal because every child grew the strength of your tribe, and so it was an arms race to have the most babies and have the most people. So in a celebration like this, especially one where it also has that funeral aspect of like things are dying and that's reminding you of your mortality and therefore you want to go do this, yeah, a lot of people are taking advantage. So how do you spread this blessing over this gathering?
It's gonna be done over. Yeah, he's just gonna fly overhead and just jizz on everybody. Because I figured that's why Annie was sighing.
Well, for as many other things as has come out of your mouth tonight, it was like, that's just.
I have a little bit more of a like actually appropriate way of going about this. So he is going to be spending the majority of the night sober, like actually pretty much all of the night sober. He's not really drinking.
Right.
But he is going to offer a blanket challenge to all of these, honor guards or whatever it was, those that are obviously the strongest women of the tribe.
Right.
One-on-one combat. And whichever one or two impress him the most, he's going to try and get into bed with.
Okay.
Now, that is its own separate thing, but the spell itself is going to be as like he's casting it as, round after round of dueling or whatever happens,
Okay.
to try and cover as much of this celebration as possible.
Gotcha.
Because with all of the shit that all of these tribes are against, yeah, they need the manpower.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's pretty much what he's going to be doing for the night.
Awesome. So we see this play out. Bulgarian, or proposing this and organizing a series of bare knuckle fist fights and wrestling matches between the various women to find who is strongest. And as they fight,
no, they're wrestling him.
They're wrestling him. Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they have all been raised around one another. Sally knows that Zug Zug over there has a bad left knee. None of that shit.
No.
They have to go up against this freaking giant ass stranger who, they're going into the shit blind.
They are. Why not? It's the end of session. We've had some good successes. I will make you roll for that one. Go for it. And part of the excuse of physical contact with all these women is to basically bless them with fertility.
No, it's not even like the ones that he wrestles with. It's an area.
Got it. Okay.
Area spell. The whole celebration.
Everyone just have fun.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay.
Love Shack. Love Shack.
Then I am going to propose this then.
Okay.
We see this all play out. The camera focuses on Bulgarian for a little while as he does this. I'm going to want you to roll me something, though.
Uh-oh.
To see how many you successfully propose into your chambers for the night. Give me a rapport check.
Not physique, considering it's pretty much being done through trial by combat.
No. Physique would be to beat them. To convince them is rapport. Okay. You successfully get a couple. So, camera moves on. Ilona, what are you doing?
Well, she's known about all this stuff, so she's just kind of still invisible, floating around watching, because, well, that's just weird.
Just spontaneously appearing in the middle of the party.
Not appearing, just watching. Going, oh. Education
That's
is happening.
where I came from.
Hmm.
No. I'm joking. In fact, I have a pitch.
Oh.
The finales of the scene, all of the things the other party members do, it's all seen through Ilona's perspective. Because she's wandering around invisible watching them and they don't realize she's there.
Then she's like, geez, Bulgarian.
So what about
They don't
Amatrine?
call him the dragon for nothing.
What about Amatrine?
She's not taking anybody. Maybe at a less primitive world that might happen, but at this point, she doesn't want to interfere.
Right.
She is definitely having a drink, and possibly a drinking contest, though. With the disgusting alcohol.
The heavily alcoholic alcohol?
Uh-huh. I'm debating on whether or not she shows them what good alcohol is.
I could see that being a blind closing scene. Just her and like the clan, like this stubby, like kind of pigeon-toed brewmaster
Yes.
looking dude. Like he's sitting there minding his keg, and she's sitting there next to him having swallows and discussing like, okay, here's what you need to do.
I'm sure she has some on her.
Cassie, you're an elementalist from a plane where you live underwater. You can't tell me you don't know how to turn water into vodka.
Perhaps I do.
Make Russian dwarves that know how to make vodka.
Out of wild roots of the mountain. Anyway.
Yes, goddammit. I need this.
Is that cool with you, Cassie?
Yes.
She said yes, but she just didn't push the button.
I pressed the
Alright.
wrong button.
That's fine. And then to Fizzle.
Uh-huh.
Emily,
Uh-huh.
what does Alona see you doing?
Well, Fizzle's gonna stick to Arikari. And there will be teaching, of course, because she promised.
And how much sticking?
And whatever, basically whatever else she'll let Fizzle get away with.
Okay. I'll pitch a little bit of the narrative here, like you and her sitting before an empty wall of her cave by her bed, like you using some of the glitter paint from earlier to like scribe on the wall, like, okay, here's how this works, and her kind of following along. So like, I understand it this way. That way? No, like this. Okay, like that. Okay. Slowly, like you're kind of like almost like shoulder to shoulder as you do this. And then what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're still limited to YouTube permissions and rating and whatever the hell else you want to call it.
And Ilona learned some new things that night.
Alona's been learning a lot at this celebration. I'm not gonna lie.
All
And
the
TJ
learning.
And I think Jimmy gets to start our session up next time. He gets to describe where his character is and how he spent his night. Starting next session. And I think with that, we head out. I'm going to play a little music and hit the button. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good
Good night.